Welcome to Just Minding My Business Radio, where we are moving at the speed of God, learning what we didn't know we didn't know. I'm your host, Ida Crawford.
And I'm your co-host, Ruth Haskins.
So grab a pen and paper and get ready for information that you can use. Welcome to Just Minding My Business. I hope your day was full of joy and love. And today I am happy to bring to the mic Squeaky Moore, who is an award-winning director, writer, producer, and author of 100 Pitches, Mistakes I've Made So You Don't Have to. I love that title.
Thank you.
The book is a film and television pitching guide geared towards independent content creators and the do's and don'ts of pitching television and film projects. She also created the Pitch 101 blog as a resource to help content creators bridge the gap between independent projects to the small and big screens. Wow. Squeaky has such she has such a resume here of things that she's done, dating back to 1999. So she is very gifted in what she does, and I am so happy to bring her here today. So welcome, Miss Squeaky.
Thank you. I'm super happy to be here. I really appreciate you all for bringing me on.
Mm-hmm. Welcome. We are ready to hear what you have to say.
Oh, absolutely.
Perfect.
My first question. You're Squeaky. That's so cute.
You want to know how I got that name?
Yes.
And it's cool because it's always a conversation starter. So there's no real big major story behind Squeaky. Apparently, I used to, as an infant, crawl out of my bed when I was done with my nap or whatever. And my siblings would say, "Oh, Squeaky's up," because the bed would squeak. And that's how they knew I was up. And you know how it is when you have siblings and, you know, Squeaky, you know, they just started calling me Squeaky and it stuck. And I really, really do not like my government name. I don't like the first or the middle name, to be honest. And they were both given to me by a grandmother. I mean, I was named after my great grandmother and my aunt. And I just hated both of those names. So, you know, I felt like, and then I just kind of felt like Squeaky it just had character. You know, as I got older, I felt like Squeaky really had character, and it really spoke to who I was, not regarding what the word means, but the fact that it has so much character and, you know, being in entertainment and all of that, it just made sense for me to just stick with Squeaky. So I almost forced every teacher to call me Squeaky. And in the workplace, when I first initially was in, you know, corporate, call me Squeaky. So.
Oh, I like it. I think it has character as well.
Mm.
And when I first saw it, I was like, oh, I like that. It made me smile.
Yes.
And and just to be clear, just so I put this out there, I've had a lot of slack along the years from my name. And I mean, from the dean of students, when I was getting my master's degree, they literally brought me into the office to have a sit-down conversation with me about changing my name. And even I remember this lady, I'm gonna go ahead, I'm not gonna even blast her name. I was working in corporate. It was my first job post-college in corporate, and I decided to write a book at the time. And she was like, "Who do you think gonna buy a book with the name of Squeaky?" And I was like, "Just watch, just you wait." Uh-huh. And I think that was the driver for me being an author, to prove that lady wrong. But so I've had a lot of slack with my name too.
Wow, I love it. So I think it's character. And when you look at what you do, to me, it fits.
Yeah,
It fits, right?
perfectly.
Thank you.
It's right in character with what you do.
Absolutely.
And what you've been doing. Yeah.
Absolutely.
In fact, it's a great film industry name. No one is going to forget Squeaky.
And I get that a lot.
You want an unforgettable name, and no one's going to forget that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So tell us, you've got so many different things that you've done in your career. So the first thing I always like to know, when did you know you were going to be doing this?
So I've pretty much known, I'm going to say 11. My sister said to me, she said, Squeaky, do you realize, and I'm the baby of 5, and she says, do you realize I think you're the only woman I know who has known what they wanted to do literally since they were a baby. Like, and I was like, really? And she was like, you just take that for granted. That, like, she's like, I'm still trying to find myself in the world, in a career. And she was 40 something at the time. And she was like you've always known what you wanted to do. So I'm going to say since about 11, I've known that I wanted to be in entertainment, and it's transitioned over time from acting. I'm an actress first, and then writing and mounting for stage, and then moving into television and film, acting, and then producing and writing and directing. So it's transitioned, but it's stayed within as a storyteller, I should say. I'm a storyteller.
Okay. Well, your book, 100 Pitches, Mistakes I've Made So You Don't Have to. I love the title of that book.
Thanks.
It speaks to everything that anybody that's getting into the business need to know. So tell us a little bit about the book.
Okay, so it is a pitching guide, and it really, I decided to write this book because as I was struggling to learn and understand the industry, the business of the industry, how to pitch, how to get my ideas out there, and how to get them greenlit, I was blessed in that I was able to get into the rooms, right? But I would only go so far, and then I'm faking it until I make it, that whole idea. And I would find myself, them passing on my ideas. And what that would do was I would feel dejected or rejected in some kind of way. And I would shelve that idea for far too long. Even if it was 4 or 5 months, I would shelve it, and then I would get another idea and then start working on it. And so a lot happened with that. One, the internal dialogue, monologue that I had after a project would get shelved would play in my mind as I'm not creative enough. I'm not, all of these different things, right? And then the rejection that came along with it, that started another type of internal dialogue with myself. And then I just felt like there were things that I didn't know, obviously, and I couldn't find them on Google, right? I felt like it was a big secret. And so when I went on this journey to pitch 100 times, and it was really, initially, it was just to rise above rejection. I wanted to pitch any and everything so I can get so used to rejection so that I wouldn't self-sabotage, which is what was happening by shelving the projects. And the first pitch, I found myself again stumped at not having the right information. I'm lying on the pitch like, yeah, I got that, I'll send it to you. And I didn't know what to do. And as I'm reaching out to all of my colleagues or my peers, thinking clearly they know what to do because they're doing all of these major things, nobody knew. And I realized we were faking it until we make it, all of us. And it was on the heels of Oscar So White. And I remember feeling like, this is why we can't penetrate the industry. This is why there's so few women of color and people of color, because we really don't know what we're doing. And there's nothing out there, or if you don't know,
Mm-hmm.
if you don't know, you don't know, right? You don't know what to search for. You don't know the proper lingo, the buzzwords to search for. And so we're hurting ourselves. So, and the journey became, let me just get some information. I don't care if it's a pamphlet. I want to get this information and I want to share with people, my people, women and people of color, to help them, to help us get more projects on the big and little screen. And that was the initial, that was the driver then. That became the driver behind why I wrote this book. Mm-hmm. And so then I started journaling and talking about what my journey was, what the takeaways were, what I learned. And halfway through that journey, I said, well, you know what, I'm going to take this further. I'm going to reach out to executives and in development executives in studios and at networks. And I want to reach out to producers, writers, directors who've bridged this gap between being independent and being professional, and getting their works on the big and little screen to see what mistakes they made so that we can be able to learn from those and grow from those mistakes. And so that's what I ended up doing. And that was the driver for creating this book. And then following up with the tour to teach people.
Oh, that's fabulous. Because you're right. Most of us have no clue
Mm-hmm.
how to get on the inside of it. And we spend years walking around the block, so to speak, just
Mm-hmm.
walking around the block and
Mm-hmm.
never be able to get through the gate. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I can't wait to read this.
Yes.
Thank you.
Can't wait to read it because it sounds really very helpful.
And
thank you.
That
Yeah.
we're moving into that era of television and soon film, wherever God leads us. So this book will be definitely valuable to
Mm-hmm.
us in terms of moving through that journey and looking for information to help us
Mm-hmm.
along. So we appreciate you taking the time to put that together.
Yes,
Thank you.
For sure.
because I'll tell you, there are so many people of color who have had the same desire that you have.
Mm-hmm.
They have really great ideas and they give up because they recognize that there really doesn't seem to be a place for them to go. Those who are on the inside, so to speak, people of color, what have you, still they will even admit that they're kind of on the outside. They're in there, but they're as a commodity. They're a commodity, rather than a force to be dealt with, something that people want to hear from.
Yeah.
So this is really important because that rejection thing goes from rejection to dejection and then to coming to a full halt.
Yeah.
And so people have had, screenplays, what have you. They're just sitting collecting
dust.
Paperweights, So I can't wait to, please tell us more. First of all, would you explain to us what a pitch is? Because that would be very helpful.
So a pitch is really when you're selling, you're selling your product or your project or yourself in some kind of way. You're selling your idea to a buyer is ultimately what a pitch is. And I like to say that we're always pitching because, whether we're intentional about it or not, we're really always pitching and someone is really always buying into us, right? And so for me, the first thing to get people to see is that you have to think intentionally about what you're saying because you are always pitching yourself, right? But it's really you're selling yourself. You're selling your idea to someone and someone is buying into you ultimately.
So what is I guess you would say the anatomy of creating a pitch before you walk into that office and open your mouth?
Okay, so that's a process. The first thing before you create a pitch, there has to be research involved, obviously. And I'd like to always look at the mission and objectives of whoever you're pitching, right? What are their mission and objectives? Because to make your pitch strong, you need to align what you're selling with what they're pitching, right? And so no matter what that is, and even, I mean, let's just be clear, even if you're going on a job interview, you're pitching yourself as the perfect candidate. And so aligning what you do with what they need and giving examples for that, it's always where you're in the place of you're selling that alignment to make yourself or your idea sound like it's the perfect thing for them. You know, they give it away. We give it away, right? If you look at your mission statement, if you look at a mission statement of a company or a mission statement of a network or whoever you're pitching, an investor, a philanthropist, whoever, right? If you're looking at some of their mission statements and you can sit and say, this project or this product does this. This product is for, you know, it's for women of color. It's for then you're going to lead differently contingent upon what their mission statement is, right? You're going to lead differently. Everybody has a different mission. And if you're using those buzzwords within their mission statement or their objectives that they may tell you about, then you're already connecting with them. You're already sounding like, she has what I want. It sounds like that initially anyway. But so when you're pitching, that's the first thing. Research is key so that you can be able to align what you have. And after that, I think a strong start, I like to call a statement of purpose. I think that's key to have a statement of purpose at the top of any pitch. And a statement of purpose is, so it can be different things because we can be talking products. I help people who have products pitch. I help people pitch their ideas up within companies, in departments, if they have to pitch their executives, right? And, or obviously, like I started out with, my focus is in entertainment. And so a statement of purpose is just going in and it's saying what you're there to present to them, the opportunity that you're going to offer. And if you state it right in the beginning, no matter what you do, and if you get off course or whatever you do, you've already stated in a nutshell, basically that elevator pitch, what you're going to present to them. And so, I can say, hey, my name is Squeaky Moore. I am a pitch expert, and I love to help women of color sell their ideas to buyers, right? And so that's what I want to talk to you a little bit about today. If you kind of state that purpose in the beginning, the person on the other end can sit back and relax and follow you easier because they know what they're going to sit back and get, right? If it's in entertainment, then I would say, so I have a half-hour comedy called Knockout that follows a young man named Michael who has lost his big executive job, and he's too afraid to tell his wife that he lost his job. So he goes out and starts to do street fighting so that he can bring money home. But he can't let his wife know that he's a street fighter, which can be the comedy in it. But the goal is to say what I'm bringing, what the genre is that I'm bringing to them, and what the premise of my show is that I'm bringing to them in a nutshell. And then I can go back and start doing the next thing that makes a great pitch, which is storytelling. Right? And even if you have a product, there's still storytelling. If you look at Shark Tank, or any of those, a lot of them come and tell a small story first. Their why behind why they're pitching, right? And so that's the key. Too many people get into the facts about what they're selling, without that storytelling part, and then building the facts into your why and your what. I have this amazing product. When I left corporate, I didn't really have any money, and I stumbled upon this new product. I'm just making something up on the spontaneously, but you go into your why behind that story, and then you say, so that's what I'm going to talk to you about today is the genie. The genie is whatever, and you go into it. So, but if I could recap that, it's really the research that's important. And then the statement of purpose, which is key. And then storytelling is going to be key, and making sure you get the facts, the priority parts, the most important parts to your product or your project out first.
Mm-hmm. Wow. This was very, very, very on point. I'm sure our listening audience is definitely going to be writing and sitting down with a pen and a piece of paper.
Yes, I certainly hope they did. I hope they grabbed a pen and paper, because this is valuable.
When you talked about Shark Tank, I just watched a really moving one. The young lady came in, she stated what she was going to be doing. She gave her story, and her story was so impactful that she had all of them in tears. And every last one of them wanted to be a part of her product, her deal. Every last one of them. That was the best presentation I had ever seen on that Shark Tank series. I mean, she really gave it to them, and everything that you stated, she did all of that. All of it.
And then, after that, again, we're talking about pitching in a very broad way, because we can be talking about entertainment, or we can be talking about a product, or simply just an idea. But in the Shark Tank example, then, thereafter you would get into, showing the product off and talking about the numbers. They're going to want to hear the numbers. What has it made? What have you done? And all of that sort of thing as far as the numbers are concerned. And then it's how are you showing the product? How are they experiencing the product? And so it's getting all of that into that that really quick pitch, your story, your why, your statement of purpose and the reason why you're on Shark Tank. And then the product, it's the story, that the premise of how you even came to create the product, and then showing the product and its delivery, and then those important numbers, like what has it done, are all key for a pitch like Shark Tank.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Now that we've done that end of it, could you talk also a little bit about pitching, either for a publisher or actually pitching for a screenplay or something of that nature, or to a television studio? How do you feel about that? And what so that we can see if there's a difference in the way you would pitch?
Well, if I'm pitching a script or a TV show, it's the same. I would go into it with the statement of purpose. So I'm here to bring you, I'm here to talk about a show that I've created. It's an hour-long drama series called Knockout, about a guy who, and I state the premise of the show. And when I say premise, I mean the thing that kicks the show into motion. It's the reason why the audience goes on this whole journey with this main character in the first place, right? What is that pitch? And someone gave me a show, for example, I'm dropping the show, and it was a perfect example. Oh, how Stella got her groove back. Let's say I'm pitching that show.
Oh, yes. Okay.
And so when you think of the premise of that, you say it's what kicks this whole film into motion in the first place. And it's just that her husband left her after 11 years for a younger woman, of marriage for a younger woman. That's what kicks it off. And that's what makes us follow her on that journey. And so, hi, my name is Squeaky Moore. I have a film, a drama, and it's called How Stella Got Her Groove Back. And it's about a woman whose husband leaves her after 11 years of marriage for a younger woman. And it's about her journey to rise above that anger and that hurt, and to throw herself back in the game after being with one man for so long. that's my statement of purpose. And then I would backtrack and start to really talk about, from the beginning of that storytelling, who this person is and what she experiences, and then how she meets this younger man, and then the conflict that happens between them. Even though she's there, she's not able to let herself go, and then she has to deal with his mom. And so I would start talking through the plot points of what this film is about. Personally, I would go through the acts. I would talk about what's going to happen in that first act, that second act, and that third act. And then I would leave either the end out, like don't tell the conclusion, or I would go through the beginning, and then jump to the end, but I don't tell the bulk of the middle. Right.
Yeah.
And the reason I do that, it's really just to entice. And then they say, yeah, let me see that script. Let me see, those materials, so that they can move, or either they can start asking me questions about either the end or the middle, whatever I left out, and or they would then say, let me see the materials for that. I want to see the treatment or the Bible or whatever you have, so that now it's moving on, and now we can build on the relationship and the pitch that I started with in the first place.
Okay. I'm hoping all of you people out there have pencil and paper, something, because that's a lot of knowledge.
Oh, yes.
A lot of knowledge that people we don't have. And yet we sit with our dreams, and, graveyard is the richest place in the world. And you've just given people something to really work with, to follow up with. It's not everything. Yeah, they're going to have to do their own research and get involved, but it's a great start.
Oh,
it's a great start.
Yes, and this information is crucial.
Because we have stories. There's so many fabulous stories out there that no one is telling them, because for every, there's always a reason, but a lot of our stories never get told.
Yeah.
And they need to be told.
Yeah.
We're people of imagination. It's
absolutely.
Color is not just about our skin. We are just a colorful people. And we think in certain ways that are inspiring.
And unique.
Yes, absolutely unique. It's not like anything. You're not going to hear it from any other group of people. So I'm just so glad that you came to this show to be with us and to share that knowledge.
Yes.
I have one more question. Go ahead, Ida.
How can people get this book? We're so excited, Squeaky, as you can hear.
Thank you. Thank you. So the book, there's two ways. You can get it on the blog or my website, which is squeakymore.com, which is SQUEAKY. And I actually offer 2 free chapters if you want to, read the 2 free chapters to learn from it. And those chapters, I offer that on the website as well. Or it's on Amazon. It's at Amazon.com as well. Or on the blog, thepitch101.com. So you can get it from either of those.
Okay. Yes.
My question, one more. Your sister said that you have always known what you wanted to do and who you wanted to be. Not do, but who you wanted to be.
Yeah.
And she said you were around 11 years old.
Yes.
Do you remember the moment when you recognized that I can do this?
Yeah, I was 11.
What was
I was 11. So it's interesting that you asked me that. I just finished a script called Making Up Stories about, it's a true account of my story. It's about a young girl who father dies by he's killed by a drunken driver through a head-on collision. And it's about how she deals with grief, which is to totally deny and won't accept the idea that her father is dead. And so she lies to her teachers and all of that, even though they know that she's lying, she lies. And it's about a teacher that goes the extra mile to help her overcome her grief. And it's through this that she discovers a hidden talent of being a storyteller.
Mm.
And so that is my story. I ended up doing oratory. This teacher made everyone audition for this oratorical competition.
Mm-hmm.
And he chose me. And I went back and asked, like, why did you choose me? Was I like better than everybody else? And he said, honey child, no, you were horrible. But it was through his work with me that helped me during that tough time of losing my father. And it was the discovery that changed my life about the arts. And then he went further to help me get into a performing arts school. When growing up as a child, I didn't have the grades. I was, I probably was not probably, I was just a victim of a horrible education. And I just didn't have the grades to get into school. And he really went, again, it's one of those, freedom rider type of stories, or Keelan will be where this teacher is like going to go the extra mile to help someone when he doesn't have to.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my story. That was my life. So I thought, I just scripted it. It's called Making Up Stories, but that is when I knew what I wanted to do. And that started at 11. And by the time I got to the Performing Arts High School at 13, it sealed the deal. I knew exactly what I was going to die trying to be and to do.
Fabulous. Thank you so much for that.
Yes.
Sure.
Wow. Talk about a little bit about some of your other work that you've done.
Sure. So I have a film that I wrote, directed, and produced and acted in called What If, Then What? And it follows a young boy who's being bullied by his best friend's basketball team. And his decision to get back and how he decides to get back at them.
Mm.
And so it's won 3 awards, which is awesome. It's won Best Film, Best Director, and Best Children and Youth's Film. It just recently won a couple of weeks ago at International Black Film Festival in Nashville. Thank you. And so that's been a journey. That's been a really awesome journey.
Mm-hmm.
And I showrun and write for a variety talk show called The Positive Controversy, and it's on YouTube, and it's with a news anchor, a journalist, an award-winning journalist hosts the show. And so we're in our 2nd season, and we just dropped all 8 episodes, maybe 3 weeks ago, 3 or 4 weeks ago, on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And we're also shopping the show around to networks. And but that's called The Positive Controversy with Kristen Pope. Mm-hmm. And I got some, I'm pitching other shows to network and streaming, and I'm always pitching ideas. So,
can your movie be seen? Where is it available?
So right now it is it's running the festival circuit right now, which means it's not available. It's a short film,
Mm-hmm.
Which means it's not available right now. It's running the festival circuit, and I'm gonna run it for about a year, or longer, but ideally it's going to be about until June, because I didn't really start until April. I finished the film this April, and so I'm going to run the festival circuit till about June, and then the goal hopefully is for it to get a licensing deal or an acquisition deal with a network.
Okay.
Oh, okay. That sounds like a Netflix thing.
I do. I look forward to it.
Yes,
thank you.
Wow.
You have quite your resume is impressive, but to hear
Thank
you
you.
speak is even more so. And
Yeah.
it is inspiring.
Thank
So
you. I appreciate that.
thank you so much for your time. To
Sure.
come on and share all this with us. We have some fabulous voices on Just Minding My Business. And your name has definitely been added to the list.
Oh, thank you. Listen, I'm just minding my business. That's what this year has been about for me.
Uh-huh.
I honestly, it has been. I have put my blinders on and I've taken, it's so easy to get caught up into what everybody else is doing and their successes and how they're doing it. And I had to put blinders on and say, I can't care. I could care less about what everybody else is doing. It's about me getting busy, doing the things that I have to do and being consistent about the things that I have to do
Yes.
so that I can reach my ultimate goal.
Yes.
Exactly.
And I agree with you 100%, because it's so much noise around us and distractions. And you really have to tune all of that out and really get busy in what you're trying to do and what you're creating. Because it's fine that Joe created something or Sally created something, but the focus is on what you're creating.
Right.
And a lot of times, and it takes a lot of energy. I can imagine sitting down, putting together a actual movie or, a screening. You've got to write it out. You got to think about it.
That's a lot that goes into, it's a lot that goes into creating the materials to sell it, to find the funding, to film it if you're not going to film it yourself. And I, that film, someone invested in that film. So yeah, it takes some time. It's not
It takes time, it takes energy, but the answer and bottom line is it's not impossible.
No, absolutely not.
Anyone. If this is what you want, go for it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Like a horse with blinders on.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
All you can do is look straight ahead. You can't look left. You can't look right. Just look straight ahead.
Yes, and I'm a witness here for that. Because I look back at some of the things that has happened. I didn't even know it was going to happen. It was like, wow, where did this come from? And next thing I'm just moving on this journey that I didn't even see myself 10 years ago even being on. So,
it's been interesting to listen. I've been listening to a lot of listening to a lot of different pastors lately, and it seems like that's the message for some reason over this last couple of weeks is just being introduced to you, right? Who you are. And the idea is that who I am growing, I'm still me, but I'm growing into a different version of me almost every day. As I complete different things, as I complete different tasks, as I learn that, I can do this and I can do this better. And I have this in me and I have this in me. I am constantly and consistently getting to know the new me. And so so when you said that made me think about, that's been a constant message for the last couple of weeks of me, hearing like you're always growing into a better you.
Absolutely.
I love that you said that because so many people, well, it's generational. I think more people now are, even the older ones who are young at heart, are waking up to exactly what you just said. Most people think that they're supposed to grow up. They get to a certain place, they do a certain number of things, go to school, get married, have children, whatever. And then they get a case of the I have arrivals. That is such a false belief system. Because as long as we're alive, we're supposed to keep growing. And the scary thing is to allow yourself to grow.
Yes.
There should be many arrivals.
Absolutely.
Many arrival. I arrived today. Tomorrow I'm going to be arriving somewhere else new.
And we should expect it and look forward to it.
Sometimes change can be
Absolutely.
difficult, but my goodness, that's when change for me is now, I've come to understand it as like tilling the ground. It's digging up the ground, it's churning things up. And when it all gets settled out, something beautiful is going to sprout up. And I have no idea what that's going to be. So now I'm learning to look forward to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have no idea what's going on here. This is really crazy, but it's okay because there's going to be something really good at the end.
Yeah.
I like that. The image that I had in mind was the idea of a seed. When you plant a seed, it got to go through, you say change is difficult. Well, that seed, in order for it to grow and to sprout, it has to go through a breaking and a bursting and a opening up. And that's an ugly process, what that seed ends up looking like, just for the change to take place. So I like that, the visual that I get from change being ugly. It's being a difficult process.
It's a good thing, and we always enjoy it when we finally see it, when it comes to fruition. You know what, this is one of those conversations that could go on for a long time, because I can just see there's so many avenues that we haven't even touched on. And what you do, how you do it, the whole creative process is something that so many people are afraid of, because if they jump into it, if they allow themselves to be creative, they're almost afraid to find out what's really there. To put words down on paper, to me, is an act of courage, because you reveal who you are. Sometimes we're not so wonderful, but and we're almost afraid of saying, well, this is what I'm really thinking. This is what I'm really feeling. And yes, I'm going to put it out here for the world to know.
And be judged. That's the fear.
Yeah.
That's where the fear is. We're afraid to be judged. And I mean, even writing my book, there was a lot of trepidation. Like, oh my God, are people going to listen to this? Like, does this sound intelligent? Like, does this? And I was going to teach a workshop. I was teaching a pitch workshop at International Black Film Festival a couple of weeks ago. And in my preparation, I bring my book and I decide, and I hadn't done this in a while, but I pop it open. So I start reading from the front cover, and I'm on the plane and I am like laughing so loud, as if I'm a reader who don't know me, right? And I am just laughing throughout the entire book at some of my stories, my anecdotes in there. And I was like, gosh, Squeak, this is good, girl. You are smart. Like,
don't you love it?
I don't know
wonderful.
why. I'm like, why was I ever so afraid? Like, I would cringe at the fear of, I would just be so afraid as I wrote it. And that's something that could really, would really want me to make me almost stop writing it in the process. And I have to keep saying, no, what you have to say is valuable. It's important for other people to know what I'm doing is going to help millions of people someday to do what they do. And if I don't do it, I failed my purpose. What's the point of God giving me purpose? That means I failed it because of fear. And so the theme became do it anyway. Do it afraid was the theme.
Yes.
As I was writing the book, do it afraid. And don't care. Listen, because half the people that's judging, they ain't out there putting themselves out there in the first place.
Right. That's right.
They're sitting smugly on their little couch with their reading glasses and a cocktail.
Yes. So you just kind of got to do it afraid.
Yes, you do.
Oh my goodness, I'm so glad we had a chance to talk with you.
So this has been such a fun interview, and I'm like, my jaws are hurting. I'm smiling so hard.
It's one of those interviews, and it's been so comfortable with you, Squeaky.
Thank you.
Thank you. Very comfortable talking with you. It's like we're all sitting around the coffee table or the kitchen table.
Yes.
And just talking, and it's
having
a
feeling. Real talk.
So before we wrap up, people need to be able to get to you. So can you please give us your information again?
So you can reach out to me at squeakymoore.com, which is SQUEAKYMOORE.com, or thepitch101.com. And my contact information is in both of them. Or if you purchase the book, all of my information is in the book as well.
All right. Awesomeness. Awesomeness. Well, we thank you for the wealth of information that you have shared with us and our audience, and I'm sure that they're very grateful and appreciative. And I just know most people will go out and get this book, because you need to have this in your library.
No, I really appreciate you two for having me on. This has been an awesome conversation, and I'm really thankful that you allowed me to share my journey and my successes and my book with you all. So thank you.
Yes, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Word on the street says there's something new at Just Minding My Business Media. You've heard our podcast, Just Minding My Business Radio, that brings news and views you can use. That airs every Thursday at 6 p.m. on iHeartRadio, iTunes, YouTube, Spotify, and Spreaker. Well, now you can watch Just Minding My Business. That's right, Just Minding My Business Media now has a TV presence on Raven International TV Network, broadcast on Roku, Fire, and Apple TV. Your business, through Just Minding My Business Media, has exposure on internet radio, major social media platforms, and now TV, through Just Minding My Business dynamic digital marketing platform. Don't listen to the word on the street. Hear it for yourself. Visit jmb.asistercircle.org to learn how you can take your business, your vision, to the next level. Thank you to the amazing women of A Sister Circle Empowerment Network, ASCEN LLC, and our media partners. Let Just Minding My Business Media promote your business. For information, visit us at jmb.asistercircle.org. That's jmb.asistercircle.org. Voiceovers by RCH VoiceWorks, for when you want to be heard. Call 443-620-4115.
Thank you for tuning in to Just Minding My Business Radio. I'm your host, Ida Crawford.
And I'm your co-host, Ruth Haskins.
We hope you enjoyed the show and appreciate you stopping by. Many blessings to you and yours.